Hello and welcome to GEMS, Great Educator Mindsets. This is Brian Reindl. I am a literacy coach in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And for today's video, what I want to talk with you about is that feeling of overwhelm. We all get it as educators. There's so much to do. And when we start to feel a little frustrated at what we're doing and we become overwhelmed, the tendency is to quit or shut down. I've experienced that before in both my personal life and my professional life. And there is a tactic that I'm going to share with you today that I learned from my coach, Chuck Marb at Better Body Fitness boot camps here in Green Bay. It's called OPOS. And what it does is it breaks down big problems or big obstacles into small, manageable pieces so that we don't feel overwhelmed and we have a path to move forward. I'm going to share with you an example from my personal life. Then I'm going to talk about how teachers are using it at my school, Fort Howard Elementary School. And then I'm going to challenge you to apply it in an area you're feeling overwhelmed. So OPOS, O is your outcome or your goal, where you want to be. P is your problem, O are some obstacles in the way, and S are specific actions. Let's start with outcome. This is where you want to be. So in my personal life, when I wanted to, about 3 years ago, become physically fit, I wanted to be able to run in obstacle course races like the Warrior Dash, the Tough Mudder, the Spartan Race. So that was my goal, my outcome. I wanted to be physically fit and be able to run obstacle course races. But there was this big problem, and conceive of this big problem as a huge boulder that you can't get over, you can't get around it, you can't go under it, it's that big. And it's preventing you from getting to your outcome. And that's, when you think about that problem, that big boulder, that's the thing that overwhelms you because it's so massive, so big, you have no idea what to do, so you just give up. And you say, I'm staying on this side of the boulder, I'm not gonna get there. My problem was, I was obese. I led a sedentary life that was all about eating and watching TV and relaxing and not doing the work. And so I'm putting up a picture right now of myself at my 45th birthday. This is kind of the before picture. And you can see from that photo what the problem might be. Now, the big problem, obese, can be broken down into some smaller pieces that are obstacles, and these you might think of as stones, or small boulders. They're pieces of the obese obstacle. So the obese problem. So this obstacle, one obstacle was simply that I was overweight. I was fat. Right? That's the obstacle. Here's the problem. Huge, obese, which entails many things. Here are my obstacles. And one of the obstacles was that I was overweight. Now, I started to break that down and tackle the problem of being overweight. One of the first things I did was started to track my food, right? I got an app on my phone. I started to track everything I ate, everything that went in my mouth, so I could be in reality on what I was doing, what I was eating, how many calories I was taking, and what my macros were. Later on, I started to do grocery shopping, maybe on Saturday, so that I would have all my food for the week and I would have good choices. And at the same time, you have to clean out the kitchen, right? Get rid of everything that might sabotage you, that you might be tempted to eat. Mine were things like breads, cookies, potato chips, those kinds of things. I also started it most recently with food prep on Sunday, and that has helped tremendously. What I do is I cook all my food now on Sundays and package it up so I have the food for the week. And then when I take it along wherever I go in little packages, I won't get caught having to make bad decisions or get caught too hungry and then wanting to overeat. And I also, another pebble I did was I scheduled some weigh-ins, right? Some kind of accountability, and keeping track of that also on a little spreadsheet or in a little notebook. These are specific things you can do to break apart this stone overweight, which breaks apart part of this obese stone. Let's talk about another obstacle that was in my way. I was out of shape, right? I was not in shape, nowhere near the endurance or strength to be able to carry out an obstacle course race. First thing I did was join a gym. All right, and I started to go. I didn't know a lot. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I was pushing myself, so I hired a personal trainer. And I met with him in the beginning 3 times a week, then we broke it down to 2 days a week, and I did the other days on my own. But he really helped me know that I could do this and know the exercises to do, and he pushed me every time I was there. And that was really, really, really important. I take my workout clothes along now. That's a new habit. Actually, no, I've been doing that one a while. I bring my workout clothes along to work. So I don't go home first if I'm going to work out after school. I go straight to the gym first, because we know what happens once you get home. You're not going to do it again. That's just one small pebble. You don't do all these at the same time. You break them down. You do little bits. I logged my workouts, right? Started keeping track of them. I set a goal of running and being able to, on the treadmill, being able to meet the entrance requirements for someone going into the Marines, being able to run 3 miles in a certain amount of time. I think it was like 28 minutes or something. So those are some pebbles I broke down in regards to being out of shape. The most recent thing I've been working on to get back on track is my mindset, because I lost a bunch of weight, but I was really focused just on fitness and nutrition. I wasn't thinking about my mindset and other areas of my life. And one thing I do now is I read every morning. I read a book and try to apply what I'm reading. I've read some of those books before, but never applied it. So read, apply, and I do that every morning before I go to work. I've also started journaling. I carry my journal everywhere I go. I write in it every morning and every night before I go to bed, because I'm working on my positive mindset, which helps with all of these things. I've also taken up some meditation, just 5 minutes a day, to bring some clarity in my life, right? I also think about why I'm doing this every day. I have my why written down. Why am I tackling this problem of obesity? Every day I have to think about that, and that keeps you motivated. So more pebbles to smash, more small steps, which breaks down this obstacle and this obstacle and this obstacle, and pretty soon you know it. Well, it might take a while, depending on what your problem is, but pretty soon this problem becomes erased. You can now go over around it and get to your outcome. That's why OPOS is so positive. Recently I had a friend who had an outcome similar to mine. We wanted to both retire in 7 years, and his problem was just like mine. What are our finances, right? And one of his obstacles was getting the house ready for sale so that it would earn the most it could. And I said to him, well, he had the problem with the specific actions, which I found in my little bit of work with this, that's where people trip up on. And one of his obstacles, things that he needed to do, or a specific action, was paint the house. Well, I said, we need to break that down even further, because that's still a pretty big obstacle. First pebble. This week, all you're going to do is go to Home Depot and pick up paint samples. Next pebble, next week, all you're going to do is maybe choose 3 sample paint colors that you think might work and put them up and live with them for a while. Next week, next pebble, let's inventory. What paint supplies do I have? You know, do I have the things I need? And maybe the next pebble is I'm going to go out and buy the things I need. And the next week, so we're 5 weeks into the process, and now we're picking the color. But we're making forward progress to tackling that big problem, and you can feel like you're getting things done and not feel overwhelmed. So now let me give you an example with the teachers at Fort Howard. But we've been having as a school-wide goal is for students to have extended academic discourse. That means that kids are building on each other's thinking through talking. So one person gets the conversation going, the next person says, I'd like to add on. I respectfully disagree, here's why. And we do that through these things called structured academic conversations. We've structured opportunities for kids to have these kinds of extended discourses. But we're finding, you know, even that being a school goal, some people had some big problems that were getting in their way, some big boulders. And to give you some ideas, there's a group of teachers that worked on the problem of student behavior. The kids just aren't taking on the choreography of how to turn and talk. The behaviors are getting in the way. So they had to break down, well, what were some of the obstacles to the outcome, and what were the pieces of the behavior, and what were some specific actions. And they found some really great success with this. Other teachers said time is an issue. I don't have enough time in my day. Okay, well, what are some obstacles that relate to time, and then what are specific small little things you can do each week? Maybe it's only, in terms of time, having one of your mini lessons be, in reading workshop, be about how to do the turn and talk and the choreography and what's expected and how that would look. That's one step, one small pebble you can break down. Another group of teachers said, I don't know enough. I have a knowledge gap. There's something I need to know about this that I don't know. And they had to figure out what were the obstacles in the way of that and what were specific pebbles. There's another group that said, well, I know what to do, but I'm having trouble implementing. That's my boulder. I have an implementation gap, and they broke it down. So what I'm saying to you today is, whenever you're starting to feel overwhelmed, break it down. And make sure the S are very, very specific and small little things that you can tackle each week. Don't keep these pebbles, don't make them boulders, because you're going to have to break them down further. You have to have small, specific actions, no matter what your area in your school that you're dealing with or in your personal life. You can use this structure to help you with that feeling of overwhelm. Great educators can get over that hurdle of overwhelm by having strategies and tactics like OPOS that will help them, and having that mindset that I'm in control of this. I'm not going to let that emotion, that feeling of overwhelm stop me from achieving, because I have a tool. I can break this down. I can make forward momentum. Whenever you're learning something new, taking on some new learning, and it gets hard, we want to quit. We get frustrated. Break it down, find support, work with a team, and figure out what your specific actions are to smash this boulder to pieces and get to your outcome. So this is Brian Reindl. This has been Great Educator Mindsets, and I hope that you apply this strategy whenever you're starting to feel overwhelmed in your personal or professional life. OPOS. Take care and have a great day.